so much for tuning into today's video. I'm so excited that you've decided to take your freelancing journey to the next freaking level. So if you read the title of today's video, you already know that today we're going to be talking about something that is vital. And when I say vital, I mean vital to being a successful freelancer. We are going to talk about pricing, okay? How you decide your pricing, how to stick to your pricing, and when to go down on your pricing, because as creatives, we all have those projects that stick to us. So sometimes we may want to give a little discount for somebody here, somebody there, just because of what it speaks to in us and in our heart. But as always, before we get into the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And if you haven't seen the first couple of videos in our Freelance Fam series, make sure you go take a look at those, okay? So without further ado, let's get into the video. So as we've been talking about, freelancing is basically just when somebody will hire you in on a contract to do a job that you're specialized to do. So me, for example, I do freelance writing, I do freelance modeling, I do freelance social media management, I do freelance video editing, all things that I'm really good at and all things that I really enjoy doing for other people and enjoy doing for myself. And it really helps me to keep my creativity high, because when I'm always working on projects, when I'm always figuring out how I can make myself better and work on my skills and make sure that things come off to the audience in a better way, I'm bettering my skills while also helping someone else reach their goal, okay? I'm constantly building my resume, constantly building my resume. But even better than constantly building your resume, I'm constantly making money, okay? I'm constantly making money doing things that I love to do. So when you're first starting out, it can be kind of tough to decide how you're going to price all of your projects and how you're going to price all of the services that you can provide. Because when you're first starting out, the first thing that you're thinking is, oh my gosh, I don't have a lot of experience. People are not going to pay me thousands of dollars to do this thing that they pay other people to do. The fact of the matter is, yes, they will. People pay for what they want and people pay for who they want, okay? So if you have a service and you can provide that service and somebody who has the money to get that service falls in love with your vibe, they fall in love with what you can do, they fall in love with your specific creativity. Even if there are 100 other people who are offering the exact same service, there's something about you that's gonna make them wanna spend their money with you. And like I said, people pay for what they want. People go to Fenty and they pay $80, $90, $120 for a skincare routine because they love Rihanna, okay? People go and buy $1,000 Beyonce tickets because they love to see Beyonce perform. People go to DJ Khaled to get their songs produced because they know that DJ Khaled is going to produce the best possible music for them to produce. So when somebody knows that you can produce the best possible service and they like your vibe, they like what you're giving off, they like what you can do for them, then yes, they're going to spend whatever amount of money you tell them to spend so that they can receive your services. Now that doesn't mean taking advantage of people, okay? That doesn't mean going to write a one-page essay and charging $30,000 for that. That's not what this is about. We're not taking advantage of people, but we are getting paid quality payment for our quality services. So here are some questions to ask yourself when you're deciding, what should I charge for this particular service that I can provide? The first question that I always ask myself with any project is, how much work is this going to require? Will this take me a month to complete? Will this take me a week to complete? Will I have to work 5 hours out of every day on it for a month? Will I only have to work 2 hours? How much work is going to entail me completing this, okay? Will I have to go to a different location to shoot something? Will I have to buy a different software? How much work is this going to entail? And then you need to decide, for this service, how much are you willing to get paid per hour for that service? Say you were going to write a 10-page ebook, okay? And on that 10-page ebook, they wanted you to do the outlining, they wanted you to make it look really pretty and, put some information about their subject matter on that ebook, yeah? So for me personally, a 10-page ebook is something that can happen quick. I can do that probably in an hour or less. Make somebody's ebook look extremely beautiful and send them over a first draft. However, for that project, I'm not willing to get paid less than $80 an hour for that project because it would only take me an hour. So with that being said, I would probably say, okay, hey, look, it'll take me about a week to complete your service. I'm going to charge you $80 per hour. And I think that this project is going to take me 5 hours over the course of 1 week. So even though it may not take me the full 5 hours, I'm still getting paid $80 per hour for this project. That doesn't mean that I'm lying. That just means that if I have to go back and do revisions, if I have to go back and add things in, if I have to go back and give you another draft, if I have to go back because you don't like how the project looks, that's adding in extra cushion for me for the extra work that I will have to do. Will I have to do extra research on your niche because it's not something that I'm familiar with? If so, then yes, this $80 an hour is going towards the work that I will have to do to produce you with the best quality work possible. Again, that doesn't mean lying to people. You also have to remember that usually when it comes to writing or ebooks or whatever the case may be, people are going to want a ghostwriting service. And that means that you don't get credit for anything that you're writing. So of course, you're always going to want to upcharge on anything that you're ghostwriting because you're not going to get any money on the back end. All of your money comes on the front end. So that's just a quick nugget. Don't thank me or anything. But usually that's why I would upcharge on things when it comes to writing, because I'm not going to get credit for it on the backside. So if you sell it, if this book sells 1 million copies and goes to the New York Times bestseller, I'm only going to get that $80 for 5 hours that I initially got. Another thing that goes into this, asking yourself how much you're going to have to put into it. So like I said, will I have to do research? Will I have to go to another location? Will I have to buy more products? Do I have to change around my room or change around my setting? Or do you want me to buy different clothes to promote your project? What is it that you want from me in this project that I'm going to have to go out of my way to produce? That is another thing that you can upcharge for, you can upsell for, okay? So that can turn a $20 an hour project into a $50 an hour project because you have to go to Hobby Lobby and get 6 different things to make sure that their shot is exactly the way that they want it to be. And that can be with anything that's not just writing or taking pictures. That's if you're designing a website and you have to buy a new, code. I don't do websites, so I don't know but if you have to buy codes. But if you had to buy a new code or something, then you can upcharge for that. Okay, I have to come out of my pocket in order to get this, so I'm going to upcharge you because I have to do this extra thing for your project. Another thing you want to charge based off of is how long will it take. Okay, so say a client comes to me and they want a 50-page book in 1 week. I'm definitely going to charge you more than if you came to me and said, okay, I want this book in a month, or I want this book in 2 months, because now I have to work extra hard. I have to take extra time out of my day to complete this project for you. Okay, so remember, ask yourself, how much time is it going to take for me to complete this? Another question that I love to ask myself is, what would I charge for this project if I wasn't afraid that the client would say, no, I can't afford it? When I first started out freelancing, that was a hard thing for me to grasp. I'm going to tell on myself. When I first started freelancing, I wrote an entire script, an entire movie script, guys. That's 98 to 114 pages for $500. And it was a ghostwriting project. Usually a minimum ghostwriting script job is $10,000. I charged $500 because I was afraid to speak up, because I was afraid that my skills weren't enough. And this person got a great script, and the script is being turned into a film and everything like that. And I got $500 for it. I'm not mad. It was a lesson learned. But that just goes to tell you, charge what you would charge if you weren't afraid that the person you're working with would say, no, we're not going to pay this amount. Because like I said in the beginning, people pay for what they want. People pay for the quality they want. People pay for the person that they want, okay? So if you know that I have the skills, if you like my attitude, if you like my work ethic, you're going to be willing to pay a little bit more than you would be willing to pay for somebody who doesn't have all of the qualities that you want in your project. So always make sure you ask yourself, how much within reason would I charge for this if I wasn't afraid that this person would say no? Now, every freelancer is going to come to a point, well, not every freelancer, but freelancers that stick with it. They're going to come to a point where they're able to upcharge simply because of their name, where they're able to upcharge simply because of who they are, where they're able to upcharge just because of their experience. But when you're first starting out, you don't have that luxury. So that's why it's imperative that I say don't manipulate people when it comes to charging. Which brings me to my final point. People always ask me this question: should I waver on my prices? As a creative, we all have projects that are going to speak to us. We all have a purpose with our creation, okay? We all have things that we want to see differently in the world, and we use our art to change those things. This is my philosophy on changing your prices for clients. This is my philosophy. It doesn't have to be your philosophy, but this is my philosophy. As a creator, as someone who is a creative natured spirit, if there's a project that speaks to you, if there's a client that speaks to you, if there's someone that you really want to work with, but they genuinely and actually cannot afford the service, then it is absolutely okay to work with that person. Now, this can't be a every single client thing, okay? Everybody can't be getting discounts. Everybody can't be going down on the prices because they can't pay it because they don't want to work it, because people pay for what they want. Only projects that speak to you. And if every project is speaking to you, baby, you might want to open up a nonprofit, because freelancing isn't for you. You got to have some sort of discipline when it comes to you making your money. Does that make sense? All right, Freelance Fam. So those are my tips for making sure that you price your services correctly. Those are the questions that you should be asking yourself, okay? So if you want a more in-depth explanation on how you should be pricing your services and how you should be pricing the work that you do for people, you can click the link down below and schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me for freelance coaching. I help creatives find the path to financial freedom through freelancing, okay? So book your free 30-minute session. Also, if you want a little bit more information on how I made $4,000 my very first month freelancing, click down below and get my $9.99 Freelance Fam ebook to tell you all of the steps that I took in order to be a successful freelancer. So, as always, until next time, Freelance Fam, I'll see you later. Bye.